Topic 1. How to start learning. Creating the foundation for teams. Before starting to train a dog in commands, it is important to create the right atmosphere for training. Successful training starts with making your dog feel safe and comfortable. If she is nervous or restless, the learning process may be difficult. It is important to prepare her psychologically so that she is ready to accept new commands and respond positively to training. Choose a place where there will be no extraneous stimuli, such as other animals, loud noises, or unexpected movements. This will allow the dog to focus only on you. Also, choose a time for training when the dog won't be too tired or too excited. It is best to start classes when she is relaxed, but at the same time active enough. Once you have prepared the dog and the place, you can start training. You should start with simple and basic commands such as sit, lie down, or come to me. These commands are quite simple and understandable for most dogs, and they don't require too much effort to master. Sit is one of the easiest commands for most dogs. When the dog learns to follow such simple commands, you will be able to move on to more complex tasks. One of the most important aspects of successful learning is the use of positive reinforcement. When a dog executes a command correctly, it is important to reward it immediately. It can be in the form of treats, toys, or praise. Treats usually turn out to be the most effective way of reinforcement. It is important that the reward is immediate, so that the dog associates his behavior with receiving encouragement. Positive reinforcement helps the dog to associate the execution of commands with pleasant sensations. When a dog receives a reward for doing the right thing, it is more likely to repeat this behavior in the future. This is much more effective than punishing or ignoring mistakes. Patience and consistency are the key components of successful learning. Dogs cannot learn new commands in one training session, and sometimes it may take several sessions for the dog to fully internalize the command. If the dog does not follow the command correctly, do not get upset or scold it. Instead, continue to train her using the same positive reinforcement method. The main thing is repetition and consistency. Each time the dog executes a command correctly, reward it. This will help consolidate the dog's behavior and increase his confidence. In addition, it is important to keep in mind the regularity of training. If you train your dog too infrequently, he may forget the commands he has already learned. It is optimal to carry out short but regular workouts for a few minutes every day. Regular training helps the dog maintain attention and focus on following commands. Also, regularity helps dogs create a stable connection between the team and the reward. Another important point is to stop training at the moment when the dog is still set up for training. You should not continue to train your dog until he starts to lose interest or gets tired. It is better to end the training on a positive note when the dog has just completed the command correctly. This will leave her with positive associations with training and make her ready for her next classes. Every dog is unique. Some dogs may take longer to master commands, while others will learn quickly. Be flexible in your approaches and watch your dog's reactions. If she doesn't respond to a certain command, it may be worth changing the approach a little, for example, using other reinforcements or trying a different training method. Thus, creating the foundation for dog training begins with creating a comfortable and safe environment. Use simple commands, positive reinforcement, and stay patient and consistent. Topic 2. Effective use of treats and toys. Treats and toys are powerful tools in dog training, but it is important to use them correctly so that they bring maximum benefit and do not become a cause of addiction. They help to create positive associations with following commands and enhance the dog's motivation. However, it is important to remember that improper use of these funds can reduce their effectiveness. In order for the training to be successful, it is necessary to take into account several key aspects in the process of using treats and toys. The first and perhaps the most important point is choosing the right treats. Dogs, like humans, have different eating habits, and it's important to find the treats that really appeal to your dog. Some dogs like meat products, others prefer something sweet. Try a few different options and choose the ones that the dog will be happy to accept as a reward. The treats should be tasty enough so that the dog can feel that it is getting something special. It is also very important that the reward is quick and obvious. When the dog executes a command, a treat or toy should be offered immediately so that the dog can clearly associate its action with the reward. However, it is worth remembering that the use of treats should not be permanent. In the initial stages of training, it is important to use treats often so that the dog quickly learns the command. But as the dog learns to follow the command, the amount of treats should be gradually reduced. This allows the dog to learn to follow commands not for the sake of food, but for the satisfaction of the activity itself. Toys can also be a great motivator, especially for active dogs who like to play. In some cases, a toy may even be a more effective reward than a treat. For example, for dogs who like to run, playing with a ball or toy can be a good incentive to follow commands. After completing the command, you can give the dog her favorite toy. To make her feel successful and joyful, this strengthens the positive emotions associated with learning and motivates the dog to further success. Toys are especially useful in speed games such as fetch or seek, where the dog must be active and move quickly. Toys don't just serve as a reward, but they also create conditions for active and exciting workouts that help the dog develop physical fitness and maintain a good mood. In addition, it is important not to overload the dog with an excessive amount of toys or treats. This can lead to the dog starting to take them for granted. Variety and moderation in the use of toys and treats play a key role in maintaining a dog's interest and training effectiveness. It is also worth considering the age and character of the dog. Young and active dogs may be more motivated by toys and games, while more mature and calm dogs may prefer treats or quiet workouts. Pay attention to your dog's preferences and adjust to her needs so that the training is as effective and comfortable as possible for her. Topic 3. How to deal with unwanted behavior and teach a dog to respect boundaries. Besides teaching the dog to follow commands, it is also important to correct unwanted behavior. To do this, use clear and irreconcilable boundaries. If a dog starts barking for no reason or pulling on the leash during a walk, it is important to correct its behavior immediately. For example, if you bark excessively, you can ignore the dog until she calms down and only then pay attention. More complex behaviors, such as aggression or destruction of objects, will require more time and professional help. It is very important to remember that the punishment should not be physical. Instead, it is best to use methods such as ignoring, distraction, or temporary restriction of freedom. This will help the dog understand that improper behavior does not lead to positive results. Similarly, it is important to adjust the behavior of the dog when it pulls the leash during a walk. If you let the dog pull on the leash, you actually reinforce his behavior, showing that in this way he can move faster and go where he wants. To fix this, it is important to stop moving immediately as soon as the dog starts pulling on the leash. Stop and wait until the dog calms down and returns his attention to you. After the dog returns his attention, you can continue walking. This will teach her that the walk will only last when she moves next to you. However, not all problems can be solved by such simple methods. Complex and more serious behavioral problems, such as aggression or destruction of objects, require more careful work. And, possibly, the intervention of a professional. Aggression, especially when it is directed at other people or animals, is a signal that a dog is experiencing stress or fear. In such cases, it is important to contact an experienced trainer who will help you develop an individual strategy for dealing with the dog's behavior. A professional can suggest methods that will be safe for both you and the dog, helping to overcome aggression without undue stress. As for the destruction of objects, this problem often arises due to boredom, lack of activity or energy in the dog. A dog that doesn't get enough attention and doesn't engage in physical activity can start destroying things in the house. To solve this problem, it is important to provide the dog with a sufficient amount of physical and mental activity, as well as provide him with toys that he can nibble or play with. It is very important to remember that the punishment of a dog should not be physical. Physical punishment can cause fear or aggression in the dog, which can only worsen the problem. Instead of physical punishment, it is better to use methods such as ignoring, distraction, or temporary restriction of freedom. For example, if a dog behaves inappropriately, You can restrict her access to certain areas, such as in a room or outdoors, until she calms down. This will let the dog know that his behavior is not leading to the desired result. In addition, it is important to use positive reinforcement to reinforce correct behavior. When the dog performs the right actions, be sure to encourage him. For example, if a dog walks next to you, does not pull the leash and does not bark, reward it with praise or a treat. Positive reinforcement helps to reinforce behavior, which you want to see, and improves your mutual understanding with your pet. Teaching a dog to respect boundaries is a process that takes time and patience. The key aspect is consistency in actions. If you set rules, they must always be followed so that the dog can get used to the new boundaries.